So Square is changing its name to Block effective December 10th. Now, of course, this comes after CEO Jack Dorsey stepped down from his role as CEO of Twitter. And as Square expands to focus on blockchain, in an announcement, the company said the new name acknowledges the company's growth and creates room for future growth. So, Zach, I have a question. Can a company not grow without changing the name? Why do does Facebook need to change its name? Okay, fact check me.
What do we fact
check?
Instead
of blockchain, they're not growing into blockchain. It's Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin.
Well, the article said they're exploring blockchain technology, and they did acquire Tidal, so they are going into blockchain.
Who votes Will of the Island?
I liked it. Will just did a very good. He channeled every Twitter commenter. Like when you try to use the word Bitcoin and crypto interchangeably,
you mention the word crypto. It's not Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. And you're like, no, I'm just trying to not use the same word twice in the same sentence.
I'm
and they're
just
like, no,
trying to tell the people the information.
That was cool. All right. Anyway, back to business here. All right. I think it's about shortened attention spans in the internet age. I think people just are they just need excitingness. So companies are like, sure, we'll change our name. It'll get people talking for 5 minutes and we'll be the same company, but people will speculate that we're a different company. And plus we have a new name. So that's what I think it's about. People are addicted to immediacy and stimulation. And I think companies are kind of tuned into that. And I bet we're going to see more name changes because of it, right? These are companies that have been around for a decade plus at this point. They're like, you know what? It's time to shake things up. We'll get people talking. Let's just change our name. So yeah, I'm putting it on shortened attention spans. But I'll toss it up to Naomi.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what happened to Long Island Iced Tea when they added the word block into their name, their stock price pumped. So yeah, I think people are dumb, and I think people just look at the names of things. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, and they're like, yeah, it's a blockchain thing, and so that's could be a scenario. But I actually think it's kind of a clever name change because you go from square, this two-dimensional shape, and then they literally just added a third dimension to their company. I don't know. I think that's kind of
Do you think they were that clever in the marketing meeting? Do you think they were there and they were like, clever. We're going to be? Yeah, maybe. They're also changing Square Crypto to Spiral. So if you want to take a stab at the cleverness behind that,
suggests going down, right? I don't understand what imagery they're playing with there. Like a downward spiral. I don't know, but is Circle going to change their name to Sphere next? That'd be interesting.
I really hope so.
SEC heat, then they just pivot. We're Sphere. We're adding a third dimension to our products line. But Will, I'm going to throw this to you.
My favorite part was either the video or the new About Us page for Square, where all their faces were put onto squares. You see Jack Dorsey's face just kind of melded into a giant square. It was pretty great. I'd encourage everyone to go check it out. And here's the video. It looks pretty slick. Look at that, just bouncing around. That's all I have for you guys. I'm sorry.
Will, I got to fact check you on that. Their faces are on blocks. They're not on squares. They're on three-dimensional cubes.
Wait, okay.
Little cubes, all right. Get the memo, right? We're 2D
on the cubes.
3D. It's hot. 3D is hot.
Cubes are
hot
in
2022.
Yeah,
this is better than Meta. I will say that.
This is far better than Meta. But I'm just over the crypto companies having block in their name. We get it.
Maybe. I mean, it is interesting because they are focusing more in that direction. So it's like a clever name. But it's also interesting that Dorsey, gets ousted from Twitter or he resigns or however we want to phrase it. And now he's just kind of going all in onto Square and saying we're doing a big revamp and we're going this other direction. He's kind of doubling down now. So that's interesting. We don't know the backstory behind the scenes of what happened at Twitter, whether it was board pressure, whether it was investor pressure. There was word that there were investors who got added as 2 extra seats to the Twitter board who said we need to go in this other direction. So perhaps there was pressure to say Jack Dorsey isn't the one who's going to cut it there. So he resigned, but it's unclear where that resignation was pressured from, whether it came internally from Jack, where he wanted to focus on this other thing, or whether the pressure was external. But regardless, he is doubling down on block now. I was about to say Cube. Now that's going to be confusing.
Don't confuse
Cube is pretty good too.
Yeah, on Block.
That's a good one.
So I'm excited to see what happens there. I am sad though. Like there have been some great articles about Jack leaving Twitter and about how we kind of didn't appreciate all the effort he made in on the front of free speech while he was there. I certainly didn't. Like we got a hint of it. I really like the Blue Frontier decentralized Twitter project. That seems to just be in the trash heap now. I have no idea what's going to happen with that. But with Jack at the helm, I don't see them putting effort towards that, especially when the word from the shareholders was, no, we need to be doubling down on sales and revenue, and that needs to be our focus. So Jack was like, no, we need to focus on freedom of speech. And then everyone else like, no, let's make money with user data. So very, very divergent goals there.